Welcome back to Lindemann Outdoors with your hosts, Buckshot and Iceman Lindemann. Today, the winter is here, the ice is on, everything's cold. We're talking ice fishing. We're going to talk about ice safety, because it's early season still, and then we're going to talk about just kind of a how-to beginner's course ice fishing. All the gear you'll need, what setups we use, and how to get started. So, welcome, Iceman.
What is happening besides the lakes freezing up?
Yeah. How cold is it down in South Dakota?
It's probably must have been -10 overnight. It was pretty cold.
Yeah.
It's been cold for a couple days. I know it's making ice, which is going to be great. So you want to talk about beginning ice fishing stuff, like, hey, I want to ice fish. I've never ice fished before. How do I get into it?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yep.
I think the best place to start with that, because we mentioned ice safety as well. So I think that's a good place to start, because a lot of people that want to ice fish, they don't know when they should go out there. They're afraid of the ice. They just aren't sure what to do. So I think we should start with that. And with that, like myself, usually I watch the temperatures, right? It's like I see the lakes are freezing over, and then I want a good cold snap before I'm going to go, like a week or two of just below zero, or, right around that less, I shouldn't say -20, but -20 is nice. But, less than 20 degrees. So you're going to get some good ice building. You want that nice, clear, thick ice. So, you want to wait for that cold snap. And then you can go buy yourself what they call a spud bar. And this spud bar looks like a big ice chisel spear looking thing. What that allows you to do is you walk and you hit the ice with it in front of you with like the spear tip or the chisel tip. And that spud bar, they're designed with enough weight on them that they'll punch through 3 inches or less of ice. So, and you need about 4 inches to walk on safely. So if you hit the spud bar and it doesn't go through, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Usually you hit it a couple times and see if it goes through or not.
So
it's important to
drive your truck on it, though.
What's that?
That doesn't mean you can drive your truck or your snowmobile or four-wheeler. That's just walking.
No, that means you can walk. Okay. Now, before you start talking four-wheeler, you probably want 8 to 10 inches of ice.
Yep.
For snowmobiles and four-wheelers and stuff like that. Your side-by-sides, you're probably a little thicker ice. Now, make sure you check your local DNR or your Game and Fish. They usually have a chart on what, safe ice thickness is for the amount of weight of your vehicle. These people that drive the big trucks out there with the big ice castles, I know they need 20 inches ice and more. 20 inches minimum.
Yep.
But for your average person that just wants to walk out there and fish, even if you've never ice fished before, check your ice on your way out. And then you make sure you follow that same path back in.
Yep. Sometimes the ice is thicker in one area than another.
That's a fact.
Yep.
So I will chisel my way out there. A lot of times I just use my ice auger because then I don't have to carry the chisel as well. So I just drill a hole, walk 30 feet, drill another hole. No, you don't have to drill all the way through. You hit the auger and all of a sudden it buzzes through right away. Well, it's time to back up and go somewhere.
Yep.
Somewhere else. But, and they make different augers. They make hand, you need an ice. So let's backtrack a little. Yep. So we've checked the ice. We've used our spud bar. We've used our ice auger. We found that, hey, there's a good 8 inches of ice out here. Now we want to go fishing. So you don't need much. You can just wear some winter clothes and sit out there on a 5-gallon pail. You're going to need a fishing rod, Probably a hook, a sinker, and a bobber, and some bait. That's really all you need.
And you forget the most crucial part is an ice auger.
Well, I said the ice auger
Well,
in the
you did,
beginning.
but in your
Yeah,
list.
sure, on your list. You're going to need a way to get through the ice.
Yeah.
That is number one. You don't want to be out there trying to chisel. Now, you can buy a hand ice auger, and they're only $30-$40. And a lot of times you can find ice augers on rummage sales because everyone's always looking to upgrade their ice auger.
Yep, there's gas, propane, electric. I think that's
hand, old manual labor. It's actually the good old fashioned elbow grease, turn the crank, drill through the ice. I had one of those for years. It's great until you get about 2 feet of ice, and then it's not so great anymore.
Yeah.
Then you're going to probably want a power auger.
Okay.
The other thing you need is what they call a depth finder, or a rock as we call it.
Yep.
And what that is a little weight that clips onto your lure, and it'll take it down to the bottom. Now, the majority of fish are within a foot or two of the bottom. Yes, fish can suspend, but if you don't know where to fish for them, put your lure down about a foot off the bottom.
Yep.
Excuse me. So what this little depth finder rock does, it's a little clip that has a weight on it, and you clip it onto your lure, and then you lower it down, and then you can set your bobber. So it'll take your bobber under the water, so then you know to move it up, and you get it. So you look down the hole, and you see the bobber's down about a foot.
Then you're a foot off the bottom.
You're good to go.
Yep.
So then you reel it back up, take the weight off, hook your minnow on, send them down. Now, walleyes and pike like minnows. Perch will sometimes hit minnows, and so will crappies, but also if you're trying to catch panfish, you may have to use wax worms, which you can get those at any bait shop. And that's another place, a good place to go too, is like, hey, I don't know, where are the fish biting? What are they doing? You got to remember, these bait shop owners, they only make money if people are catching fish and buying bait.
Yep.
So they will tell you where to go. They will help you get set up, like, hey, I need a nice fishing pole. I need some tackle. I need an auger, I need some bait, an ice scooper, which is a very important thing that we forgot the last time we went ice fishing.
It's not as fun bending down there with your hands and scooping out ice.
Exactly. We got to clean out the hole. Now if we're going to get more advanced, let's say I want to spend some more money ice fishing, and yeah, it was fun sitting out there on the ice on a 5-gallon pail, but I got cold.
Yep.
Well, good news. You can buy all kinds of pop-up fish houses.
Fold-over fish houses.
Yep. Fold-over ones that have a little sled that you can put all your stuff in, so you can pull it out there, pop it up like a little tent. You can have a little propane heater in there.
Yep.
It'll be nice and warm and toasty. A lot of people think ice fishing is, I don't want to go. I'm going to be freezing.
We don't fish in the cold.
No. It's 70 degrees inside that fish house.
We have to take off our sweatshirts most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're in our sweatshirt or a t-shirt.
Yep.
We for sure always take off our jackets.
Yeah. It'll sweat. It's a sauna in there.
Mm-hmm. And one of the nice things they have now is they have these articles of clothing that have flotation in them for ice fishing.
Yep.
I've seen Shields just came out with a vest that you can, it looks like a normal vest that you would wear, but it's got flotation in it. So you can wear that under your jacket.
Yep.
Flotation suits that you can wear if you're afraid of that. And another good way to get into ice fishing is probably go with a guide your first time.
Yep.
Right? A lot of resorts will rent out a fish house for the day. A lot of them will even supply rods and reels if you don't have them. They drill the holes for you. The heat's on. You just you show up there. They haul you out to the fish house.
Yep.
You catch fish.
They tell you how to do it. Everything.
Yep. It's a good way to get started. And then you can also, as you're like, hey, this is something I really enjoy and I want to do. Well, then the sky's the limit of all the things you can buy to make your ice fishing better. You can, you get some fish finders, Vexilars, sonar, underwater cameras. They make just you name it, they make it for ice fishing.
Yep.
All kinds of stuff. Rattle reels where you put the reel, you put your reel down and it's got a little rattle, and when the fish takes it, it makes a noise and you can reach over and grab it. A lot of
There's tip
your
ups.
permanent fish
There's
houses. Tip ups. What you tip up is it's a
it's like a giant mouse trap for fish.
it's like a giant mouse trap for fish in a way.
In a way.
So it has a reel that sits under the water, and then when the fish takes line, it trips a lever that sends the flag up in the air. So when you're fishing in your fish house, you'll put this over about 50 yards or so that way you cover more area and you can see where the fish are biting.
Not your window.
A lot of people use tip ups to fish northerns. You can use them to fish walleyes as well. We've done that.
Yep.
That's what's great about ice fishing is you can go as minimal or as extravagant as you want. And
Yep.
The fish usually are hungry. They usually bite good. You're warm and comfortable, and you just gotta pick a good spot.
Speaking
I
of
like to
a good spot,
go ahead.
When I go to, I'm gonna play the person learning.
Okay.
If I have all my gear, and I've been told to go to this lake. How do I know where on the lake to go?
Well, number one, you can do what most people do and use the Norwegian fish finder, as I call it. And they just look where everybody else is fishing and they go fish by them.
Yep.
And, you don't want to get too close to people. There's some etiquette. You want to be spread out.
Yep.
But at the same time, those people are probably where they are because that's a good spot to fish, right?
Yep.
They're not just sitting down on some random spot to fish.
Yep.
And then when you get a little more advanced, you can look the structure of the lake and then the type of fish that you're looking for to catch. A lot of fish like rock piles out in the lake. Some fish like being out in the mud. Some fish like points. I like a lot of points. I like little stuff that depth contours that are going to make fish swim by my lure. It's usually pretty easy to tell where the fishing is good because there'll be holes drilled there. There'll be fish houses. If you're the first one to the lake, you want to look for some type of structure. Off a point, off a rock pile, off a weed edge. Sometimes if it's just a big bowl, and it really doesn't matter. You just chunk down out in the middle there and hope something comes by you.
Yep.
Don't overthink it. And if you're not catching fish, well, move and try a different spot.
Hole hopping.
Sometimes you got to drill a few holes to find the fish.
Yep. And that's another thing too is there's fish are in certain kind of depths of water, right?
At certain times of year.
Yeah.
They go where the food is.
Yeah, explain that.
So, usually first ice you can fish fairly shallow because a lot of the young of the year, like the fish we caught the other day, Jacob, they had a bunch of tiny crappies and perch inside of them.
Yep.
And all those little fish are living up along the shoreline in the weeds and the brush piles and stuff like that. And I think as the winter goes on and you get closer to spring, you get some bug hatches out in the mud and the fish move out there and eat the bugs. They just kind of move around where the food is. So, early in the season, you don't have to go way out there. And then the other thing too is morning and evening, a lot of times the fish will come into shallower water to feed. So it could be a time of day thing too, where you want to start out close to shore in the morning. As the day moves on, you'd probably move out further into the basin, and then you'd move back for the evening bite. We've done that many times where we've gone out deep to fish in the middle of the day, and then about 2:30, 3 o'clock, we pack up and move close to the shoreline to get the evening run, as we call it.
Yeah. And one thing I always forget is when you're looking at like topographical maps, when you get further into winter, you have to remember how thick the ice is too.
That's right.
Because if you're looking
So,
at a topographical, like a GPS map, and it says, "Oh, we're in 6 feet of water," but if there's 3 feet of ice,
yeah,
then
there's
you're
only
only
3 feet of water.
you know. So
So you gotta take the thickness of the ice into account.
which
But
that's not a big deal down in South and North Dakota, but if you're going up in Canada, sometimes it's a big deal because they get lots of ice up there.
you know, it's ice fishing is really simple. You can, you know, don't overthink it. Just get out there and have some fun. Drill some holes. Put some food down there. Put some bait down there in front of their face. And a lot of times the fish are gonna bite it.
Now I have a very important question that I just thought of, though I can't believe we haven't talked about this. If you're going fishing for the day, what type of snacks and food are you going to bring?
Mm, mm-hmm.
And do I need to
Mm-hmm.
have just cold food all day? What do you do? Again, I'm playing the person who doesn't know what to do.
Well, you can always pack sandwiches and pack snacks. I think that's a fishing expedition. You know, I didn't get my girlish figure from, well, not eating Little Debbie's while ice fishing. That's for sure. I mean, the amount of Christmas tree Little Debbie cakes I've eaten over the years while ice fishing, good Lord. Uh, but, you can, like what we do is we bring a little cook stove. You go to Walmart, you buy a little camping cook stove, whether it's a jet boil or we bought just a little Coleman single burner that goes on a propane tank. And we bring a pot of water and we boil it and we make brats out there. Nothing better than a hot meal. We've made ramen out there. That was good. I was watching Tom Boley the other day and he was using a jet boil and eating Mountain House. He was
Yeah.
having mac and cheese and beef stroganoff. And a lot of
Yep.
people bring a little grill out there. They'll grill it on the ice.
They'll have fish
Um,
fries. They'll
yep.
bring some
We've
oil for
done,
your pot.
I'm just trying to think of
Done fish fry.
we've done fish fry. We've grilled out there.
The brats are
Uh,
probably the number, I don't know what it is. Just it's lake water you boil them in, but
Make sure you boil your water good
boil your water good. But something about a nice hot brat on the ice.
when you're ice fishing. Yep. Good way to get rid of those deer brats.
Yep.
Pepper sticks, deer sticks when you're ice
Jerky,
fishing.
deer
Jerky.
sticks.
Oh my
That's a
gosh.
good snack. I like
The
a
best.
homemade trail mix.
Yep.
And
Heavy on the peanut M&Ms.
heavy on the peanut M&M. It's about 50% peanut M&Ms to actual mixed
Yeah.
nuts and raisins.
Yeah. There's not a lot of mix in there.
No, it's mostly peanut M&Ms, but it's a
Yeah.
damn good trail mix.
It's a damn good trail mix. But yes, it's
You can get fancy.
you can get fancy. There's a lot of stuff you can do. All depends how much gear you want to haul with you.
Yep.
But we have a little tote that has our cooking kit in it. Sits
Yep.
in the bottom of our fish house. It's pretty slick.
And that's what's kind of nice about those flip over houses because they have that sled. The Otter
Carry all
ones.
your gear.
Yep. I mean, shout out Otter fish houses. They have a nice deep
Otter,
sled.
clam, fraybill,
Yeah. Eskimo makes them now.
Eskimo. I like the Otter sled best. I think it's a thicker sled material. The plastic's thicker
A little tougher.
and it's deeper. And it's tougher. We beat the ever living
Oh my
snot out of those
gosh.
things.
On Lake of the Woods
Jumped
and
them,
Lake
ramped them,
Winnipeg.
crashed them, had them try to blow away.
Yeah.
You name it,
They're
we've
good
done
ones.
it. So yeah, they're really good.
And the pop-up houses are good too. I think it's getting more and more popular. I kind of want to do it this year. I think it'd be fun to do an overnight.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do that. Stay in a nice castle.
They do a pop-up and they put a cot in there.
I've seen that. Pick your weather.
Yeah,
You
pick a
don't
good
want to go out there
weekend.
when it's 30 below. Like,
No.
hey, it's going to be 25 degrees for a high and only get down to 18 at night,
Yeah.
And but that's a whole other episode of ice camping.
Yeah.
Um, and you got to make sure it's legal in your state. It's not legal everywhere.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't
Yep.
know that.
Some places, yeah, you're like Canada. It's not legal to camp out on the ice.
Really?
Yep. Stay overnight in a fish house. You can in like
I
an
don't.
ice castle and stuff, but you got to buy a license and you got to have a camping permit.
I don't want to call anybody out, but I've seen some ice fishing YouTubers who are strictly Canadian
Oh
do
yeah, and they're
this.
like they just say they're not sleeping. They're just fishing all night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No sleep till Brooklyn, as the Beastie Boys used to say.
Speaking of, this is kind of
The
crazy,
Beastie
but
Boys?
not the Beastie Boys.
Oh,
Ice fishing YouTubers. This is not the sleeping over night thing, but have you seen the new Uncut Angling? This is one of my favorite YouTubers, Buck and
no.
Broncos. He drove,
Aaron Weeb.
he drove 2,000 miles to I forget, like kind of up Hudson Bay, but on those big lakes way up north.
You go to Great Slave?
Maybe, but he drove a snowmobile 200 miles, and he's catching these lake trout, and he just drove out there, and it was crazy. I haven't even finished the video yet, and I just
Mm.
I've been having a craving to go catch. I've never caught a lake trout through the ice. I have a urge to do that, but that's a whole trip. You gotta plan that out. I mean,
Yep. Yeah, there's some destinations to do that, but they're a long ways away from where we're at now.
that's true. Very true. But what else are we missing for ice fishing? I mean, ice
Not much. I mean, I grew up ice fishing and we used to sit out there in our snowsuits and our boots and
dress in
having to chip,
layers.
having to wrestle all that ice out of your hole, kept freezing up on you. And,
Yep.
you move into a little fish shack. That was heaven, sit inside a little heated fish house.
Yep.
Fish. So,
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the Lindemann ice fishing season merch drop came out last night when we're recording this, December 11th. So you guys can go
this stuff
check.
is so dope.
Yep, drew some original designs, and I drew some newer designs I'm kind of getting creative with, but go check it out, lindemanoutdoors.org. We got sweatshirts and crew necks, long sleeves, t-shirts. We got stickers. We got a phone case I'm working on. And, the Iceman won't like me doing this, but I kind of put our 4 favorite lures as the designs. But now the secret's out.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, these are all my lures on here.
They're good looking lures. They're I don't want some ugly lure on a t-shirt.
They catch fish, those colors.
They do.
No, those are some crazy good designs. They're sick. I'm gonna get that Grim Reaper one for myself.
The ice reaper.
The Ice Reaper.
The fish's worst nightmare. Well, I got inspired by that because I saw just it was like an ad, and it was actually it's kind of ironic. It was about ice safety, and it was it was about wearing your float suit so you don't meet the Grim Reaper on your ice fishing trip. And I was like,
Nice.
wouldn't it be funny if the Grim Reaper, instead of his big scythe, had an ice auger and a Vexlar? I was like, oh, that's genius. So I drew that up. But yeah, so go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Those designs are going to be there for the ice fishing season, and then they're gone. That's it.
Dang.
They might be back next winter, but probably not.
So where can we find those at, Jacob?
LindemannOutdoors.org. I have the link in my Instagram at Lindemann Jacob or Jacob Lindemann, as well as our Lindemann Outdoors podcast channel, just Lindemann Outdoors Podcast. That's on Instagram, Facebook. It's on Instagram, Lindemann Outdoors Podcast. Link in bio. Take you right there. Yeah, we got stickers. And then around Christmas time, we're going to bring out some favorites. I'm working on a little there's gonna be just one design, kind of coming. Maybe make a little red nose character. Who knows? But that's a work in progress. But we're gonna be fishing more this Christmas season. We're gonna be filming it. We're gonna have fish fry podcast. That's what I want to do. I want to have a podcast on the ice. See if we can make that work.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe pick a non-windy day. Non-windy day would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not flapping around. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a good ice fishing season. Everyone out there, keep filling your freezer. Stay safe. Bring your spud bar.
Check that ice. Don't just trust that it's good. Check for yourself.
There's a lot of crazy people that go out there when there's less than 4. So don't trust if someone's out there.
That's a good way to check the ice. Is know who the crazy people in your area are.
And give them
if they make it out there and back a couple times.
Yep.
And then give it about a week after them. It's probably good.
Yeah. I don't know how many times, especially on the woods, people try and drive vehicles out there too early.
And float away. Red Lake is also.
Yeah.
You get out there before the ice is good and solid across the whole big lake, and all of a sudden the ice breaks loose and they're floating out to sea and they need to be rescued.
Yep.
Every year. City people, stay home until the lake is frozen all the way.
Yeah. If, usually around Christmas time is a good time to go ice fishing.
Between Christmas and New Year's is usually go time.
Yep. We've had.
This year it will be for sure.
Yeah. It's been cold, but yeah. Stay safe out there.
Drive your trucks out there.
No.
That means four-wheeler. You keep trying to do this exit.
I'll keep trying, but you're stopping me, so clearly you have something to say.
Is that an outro versus an intro?
That is correct. It would be an outro, which we don't have an outro yet. I just kind of play music when you.
I thought our outro was fill our freezer. Fill the freezer.
That's what we say at the end. We say peace out, but I like to give a little bit of a send off. And it's fill the freezer, not filler freezer.
Freezer filler.
No, it's fill the freezer.
But we're freezer fillers.
I guess so.
Are you a smart feller or a fart smeller?
Okay, I'm going to end it there.